Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about a few sounds that I really love over the bridge to What Is This Thing Called Love. And before we get into it, just a reminder, this is the third video in a 4-part series that I am doing on this particular tune. In the first 2 episodes, we took a look at some ideas over the A sections, and I'm creating a playlist out of this particular series, and I'll leave a link to that somewhere on the screen so that if you're walking into this on episode 3, you can go back and check out the other 2 at your leisure. Also, a reminder, anything you see on screen is part of a package of resources that you will get along with backing tracks and trading tracks. And you'll get all of that in return for supporting the channel with a small monthly donation. And on top of that, you can come over and be a part of my online jazz education community, Jazz Skool. And I'll leave a link to that group below this video so that if you're interested in getting all of the vocabulary and all of the ideas that we're going to talk about today, if you're interested in receiving those materials in written form, you can grab those by choosing to support the channel. We've already got a lot of people that have decided to do that, so thank you to all of you. And if you become one of those people, thanks. We could not do this without you. I could not put out all these educational tools without the monetary support that you offer. Okay, let's dive in. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to just talk about the chord changes in the bridge of What Is This Thing Called Love. So just a reminder, it's an AABA tune, and it, just like the A sections, is pretty simple. Basically what it is it's a 2, 5, 1, in the key of B flat concert. So remember, the whole tune is in the key of C concert. So basically what we're doing is we're just modulating a step down to get to that B flat major. And that takes up half of the B section. And then we've got this interesting thing in the second half. Now, you'll see this written a lot of different ways. This is simply the way that I prefer to think about it when I'm soloing over this. And it pertains to the stuff that I want to talk about today in terms of some interesting sounds we can use over that second half of the bridge. So the way I think about it, and the way I like to play over it, is if we think about this in the key of concert C, it's flat 6, a flat 6 dominant 7 chord, moving down to 5, 2 bars each. And then that leads us right back into the last A section. Okay, so let's just go over that real quick. It's a 2, 5 to B flat, and then we have a flat 6 dominant for 2 bars to a 5 dominant for 2 bars. And that's it. That's the whole bridge. All right, so now let's dive into how I like to think about it when I am soloing over it. So the first thing I like to do, and this came from studying a lot of Barry Harris stuff, is over the 2-5, I just really like to get rid of the 2 chord and think about just the 5 chord. So when I'm actually blowing over this, I'm gonna think about just concert F7 for 2 bars, resolving to B flat major. So that's the first thing I'm tweaking a little bit. And then what I really want to talk about today is sort of what I think about over the second half. And I'm not changing much, but I'm just going to make 2 slight differences that are going to result in some really cool devices that we can use over the second half of the bridge. So the first one is that A flat, that concert A flat 7 chord. I like to think about it as an A flat 7 sharp 11. I just think it's such a nice sound over that second half of the bridge. So instead of just thinking about pure Lydian, now I like to change it to this sound with that D natural in there. I just think it provides some really, really cool color. And then when I move to the G7 chord, I like to think about it with a flat 9. And we'll talk about the connotations of these slight tweaks to the chords are going to give us some really cool devices that we can use. Now, as usual, I think in order to wrap your ears around a progression, it's really cool to come up with a scale exercise or a chord tone exercise. And actually what we're going to see is a mixture of both this week. So over the first half of the bridge, I like to just play the F Lydian scale up and down. and then I go to a B flat major scale. Now, over the second half, what we're going to be talking about today is how useful arpeggios are over that second half to create this really, really cool sound that is also voice-led. So let's look at that. So over the A flat 7 sharp 11, I like to play an arpeggio that consists of the root, the third, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually omit the fifth and replace it with that sharp 11. And then jump right up to the flat 7. So, ooh, I just absolutely love that sound. So in my little preparatory exercise that you can use as a warm-up before you start to work on the bridge, I like to just play that arpeggio up and down for 2 bars. And then what I'm going to think about over the G7 chord is something that we talked about on the episode before this. So because I have a flat 9, what I'm going to think about is a diminished 7th arpeggio based off of the 3rd. So B, D, F, and G flat. And we're going to see in a second why those two things are so useful. But in my preliminary exercise, I'm just going to simply play up that modified arpeggio over the A flat chord, and then up that diminished arpeggio based off of the G7 flat 9. So that's going to give me the sound in my ears that I want. Let me just play that on saxophone for you real quick. Okay, so you may be asking yourself, why those 2 arpeggios? Why step away from the scales and use the arpeggios? And it's for this reason. The voice leading between that A flat 7 sharp 11 arpeggio, when we move that to that B diminished arpeggio, the voice leading is amazing. You'll see it's A flat, C, D, and G flat, and that moves to A flat, B, D, and F. So that voice leading is incredible. And that's what I'm looking to harness the power of. It's not that I'm only going to use those 4 notes in like every single thing I play over the bridge. There's a lot of opportunities to use a lot more than that, but it's a great, great place to start to wrap your ears around this sound and harness the power of that voice leading. So listen to it again and really look at those 4 notes and how they voice lead to each other. Now I'll put the root underneath it so that you really hear it. Isn't that nice? And I don't know, there's just something about that sharp 11 over the A flat chord that I feel like really lends itself to this tune. Just seems to really be of the same character as some of the stuff that I'm doing over the A sections. Okay, so now let's look at some vocabulary that I've written for you that you can learn, again, just to get an idea of what the sound of this is, and then you can go on and experiment with it. In fact, this week I'm going to want you to write your own vocabulary so that you have to sit and methodically decide on the sounds that you want. And then, of course, as always, my biggest recommendation for you is to just improvise so many times over this that it becomes like second nature to you. But again, you hear me say this in every episode. It's a good idea to be able to sing this vocabulary as well as play it. And if you skip that singing part, do so at your own peril, because I promise you, if you take that time to sing, it's just going to benefit you so much. So over the first 2 bars of the bridge in this vocabulary that I'm about to show you, I'm not really using any specific devices. I'm just dealing with that 2/5 in a way that I think sounds good. I'm using a lot of chromaticism. I feel like that really lends itself to that 2/5. But then what you will notice is over the second half of each piece of vocabulary, I am just using those 4 notes over A flat 7, sharp 11, and then those 4 notes over G7 flat 9. And I actually have those color coded so you can see like where that A flat chord moves into that diminished sound. So here are the 3 pieces of vocabulary that I've prepared for you that you can study this week. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed the sound of those. I go to that sound quite a bit when I solo over this tune. My ear just sort of naturally goes there, and I'm always kind of happy with the results. Okay, so this week, what I've also done in the PDF is I've left 2 versions of the bridge blank for you. And I want you to write your own vocabulary. Write 2 versions of the bridge that you really like. It might take you a while, but that's kind of the whole point, is to really get in there with a fine-tooth comb and figure out from scratch maybe what you would enjoy using these sounds. So you're going to study the vocabulary I've prepared for you. Right on the same sheet, you can write 2 of your own pieces of vocabulary. And then what I would basically do is I would practice improvising over this. So you're sort of putting yourself on the spot. But I want to talk about, I think, the best way to do this. Because if you just practice the bridge like over and over again, it's kind of awkward. So what I like to do is I like to practice playing over a 16-bar loop. And that's basically one of the A sections plus the bridge looped. And I'll provide all the supporting members a backing track of those sections looped, but you can also do it in iReal Pro. You can just like loop that. And this is great because we want to hear the A section transitioning into the bridge, and then we want to hear the bridge transitioning out into an A section. And that's the beauty of an AABA tune, is that if we really want to focus on the bridge, we can loop one A section and the bridge. So that's it. What I would do in your practice is I would spend a little bit of time studying some vocabulary, writing your own, really going through it with a fine-tooth comb. And then I would move into, for whatever practice time you have left, just improvising, trying to use the sounds. Now I will have some trading tracks where I play 16 and then you can play 16 so we can bounce off of each other. And I will leave you on this episode with a few 16-bar segments of myself playing over this using those sounds that I demonstrated, so you can walk away from this session with some of those sounds floating around in your ears. Okay, everybody, as always, thanks for hanging with me. Hope you got something out of this, and I will see you in the comments section.